Lesson 5.2, Proportions. Today we will be covering the standard 7.RP.2a. So let's go ahead and get started with a key idea. We are going to define the word proportion, okay? So a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent. Remember, ratios come in the form of a fraction oftentimes. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers, of two values. So two quantities, two numbers, two fractions that form an equation are proportional. And this is a numerical example of a proportion. 2/3 is equal to 4/6. It's essentially reducing. For the 2/3, you multiplied by 2 to get the 4/6. But the proportion, the comparison is the same. For every 2, you get 3. For every 2, you get 3. Even in the 4/6, it's just doubled. So let's go ahead and highlight those though. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent. Two quantities that form an equation are proportional. Awesome job. Now that we have that down, let's go ahead and jump into example 1. Example 1, determining whether ratios form a proportion. Remember, proportions are fractions or comparisons that are equal to each other. So example 1 asks us to tell whether 6/4 and 8/12 form a proportion. Well, what we do here is we simply compare the ratio in simplest form. So to compare them, they must be in simplest form. So please notice that 6/4 in simplest form is 3/2, 3/2, because we divided the numerator and the denominator by 2. Now that we got that one, we have to make the other fraction in simplest form. So 8/12 is equivalent to 2/3 because we divided by 4 on the top and the bottom to get 2/3. Now it's a simple question. Let's compare them in simplest form. Are they a proportion? Are they equivalent? Is 3/2 the same as 2/3? Well, when you say it out loud, it's pretty clear. No, they are not. So please make sure that you have this all written down, and I will write my final answer here. So 6/4 and 8/12 are not proportional, or they do not form a proportion. Proporx. However, what are they? Use your knowledge from math. You have 3/2 and 2/3. What are they? They are reciprocal, so don't get confused. Awesome, awesome job. Now you can move on to example 2. Example 2, determining whether two quantities are proportional. Example 2 asks us to tell whether x and y are proportional. So move your eyes on over to that chart on the right. They want to know whether x and y are proportional, meaning that the change in each are equivalent. The 1/2 and then the 3, are those the same? Are the comparisons between the two the same as 1 and 6, 3/2 and 9, and 2 and 12? Well, we can figure that out. And the way that you do that is to compare each ratio, x to y, in simplest form. So we need to form a ratio for each x and y couplet. So let's first take this one, 1/2 and 3. So the way that we will write that is 1/2 over 3. Okay? And we know that any division is just the multiplication of the reciprocal. So 1/2 times, and what is the reciprocal of 3? 1/3. Very good. And with fractions, you just go straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. So 1/2 to 3 is 1/6. That is the ratio in simplest form. Okay, let's see if the other ones match. So then we have 1/6. Well, this is kind of easy. 1/6. Well, that's already in simplest form. 1 and 6. So far, so good. If the other two are also 1/6, then x and y are proportional because the ratio is the same. Do you see how the numbers are different? X is different each time. Y is different each time. However, the comparison between the two, the ratio, remains the same in simplest form. Okay, so now we have to do the next one. 3/2 and 9. Okay, let's go ahead and write that. Let me box these off so it's easier to see. So this was our first one, this is our second one, and now we're doing our third one. Okay, so it's 3/2 over 9. Okay, and once again we know that it's the multiplication of the reciprocal, leaving us with 3 over 18, which reduces down to what, my friends? 1/6. Oh, we love it. Okay, so we know that that one is also 1/6. Okay, we have one more, and then it'll be proportional. You need to do all values here. So we have 2 over 12. Well, we know this one. Divide by 2, divide by 2, 1/6. Awesome job. So, my friends, the question of the hour is, tell whether x and y are proportional. Are they? So you write it, x and y are proportional. Way to go. Oh, I never did this one. Okay. Way to go. Let's do some on your owns. Alrighty, my lovely students. I have put 4 on your owns for you. You need to do these. These are a part of your notes. It's helping me check for understanding. So for A, B, and C, I would like you to tell whether the ratios form a proportion. In other words, are the simplified versions of those fractions equivalent? And for part D, tell whether x and y are proportional. These on your own problems are very similar to your examples. So please use your example 1 and 2 to help you solve these. Pause it, work them out, be diligent, and check back for your answers. Thank you, my wonderful student, for being so diligent and hardworking. Here are your answers. A is yes. B is no. C is yes. And D is yes. High five yourselves if you got it. Now you can move on to example 3. Way to go.